Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Shrizzles. And so you can tell by the title, we're going to talk about the problems with the ending of Naruto. Now, it's not going to be like the normal plot holes, like the very basic ones that everybody can tell. Like for example, obviously, things like Minato. He had Sage Mode for no reason whenever he was Edo Tensei and brought back to life. There's that. And then there's like the whole Kakashi thing, having his Mangekyo. And then he didn't use it for so long at all. But then whenever he did, he would be so drained that he couldn't even fight for a week. But then at the end, all of a sudden, he's just spamming it everywhere. Left, right, center, middle, up, down. Well, yeah, there's all those types of things, right? But we're not gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about some things more in general, like the basic plot line. And some of these things will actually be, in my opinion, factors that affect Boruto. So without further ado, we're gonna jump in. Now, at the time of watching it, I didn't see a problem with it, but looking back, I honestly feel like it was such a bailout. Let me get into it. So you remember when Naruto and Sasuke were on the verge of death, and the Sage of Six Paths showed up out of nowhere. I'm talking nowhere, not thin air. I mean, he just showed up in their mind. He is the universe, apparently. The Sage of Six Paths is supposed to be like God or something, I guess, even though there's people that are obviously stronger than him or would have beat his ass. But he's just OP and he decided to show up for that one time. I don't know what he was doing whenever Jiraiya was getting his butt kicked, but we're not going to talk about that. In my opinion, it was just a cheap way of giving those two a power up, a significant boost, beyond all of their characters. And obviously they had to catch up to Madara with 10 tails absorbed, so it made sense that there had to be a boost, but it could have been in some other way, or maybe it could have been strategy. They could have figured out a team strategy to take them down, but instead they just gave him a random boost, a revive, and bam, Six Paths mode. All of a sudden, no other characters besides the villains and my guy matter. By the way, shout out to my guy, he's an MVP. And you might be thinking oh, what else could they have done? There's a few different things. How great it would have been if they would have figured out a way to pull off a spirit bomb or something. People can connect their chakra together, I mean, whether it be in a way of a puppet or something, but the point is, it's possible. You could figure something out that isn't as cheese as a dude just showing up after thousands of years. But in my opinion, it really was a bailout. Should have never happened. The guy shouldn't have showed up. And to be honest, like I said, at the time, whenever I was watching it, I didn't mind. I thought it was cool. I was like, whoa, this is awesome. But looking back, it was a bailout in my opinion. And on that same note, I don't think Kaguya should have been the final boss. I think it should have been Madara. I feel like bringing Kaguya into the mix was kind of a stretch. I know they had to bring it up for the whole Zetsu thing and everything, but honestly, it was just a stretch in my opinion. How much cooler it would have been instead of having those buffs and having Kaguya come in later? I mean, how much cooler it would have been if they would have come up with something I don't know, Sasuke and Naruto combining Rasengan with a Kirin or something. I don't know, just something else, like I said. Anyways, on to the next thing. I have a problem with the Ghetto statue. They ruined so much potential for the show whenever they randomly decided that you don't have to have the full-tailed beast to complete the 10 tails. Examples, obviously, Killer Bee and Naruto. Kurama and the 8 tails. That was also kind of a bailout in my opinion. That defeated the whole purpose of everybody else having to die and all that. And it really put the stakes down. It kind of did. Now, do I think the 10 tails should have existed? Yes. Yes, it was a great part of the story. Do I think Naruto should have gotten it distracted and so should Killer Bee? Yes. And I know you're thinking, but they're gonna die. Look, there's ways around this, okay? Killer Bee, he might have to die, and that would be sad, And I'm not sure on the way that they would bring him back, but I know for a fact there's a way with Naruto. With either one of them, they could have pulled a Granny Chiyo, like Tsunade or something. She's a highly skilled medical ninjutsu user that can probably give her life. And I know what you're thinking. Oh no, don't let Tsunade die. Look. That would add some extra oomph to the plot. And I'm not saying I wanted her to die. I'm just saying there's ways around this that wouldn't have to be so cheap. As far as the Ghetto Mazo, only having to take part of a tail beast. That doesn't even make any sense. But Sakura having to deal with the death of Tsunade might actually push her to another level, making her more relevant at the end. And just the whole emotion of having to deal with it, Sasuke had to deal with his whole clan dying. Naruto didn't even know who his parents were and his sensei died. But then Sakura gets a free pass. Look, like I said, I'm not saying I wanted her to die. I'm just saying it was a cheap way to do it. And that is one of the few options that I came up with off the top of my head that could have made sure that Naruto lived, but they got the full Kurama extracted. And once again, I'm not exactly in the business of figuring out how they stop him after that, but I'm just saying, maybe they could pull another loophole and Minato gives him his half of Kurama. I mean, that wouldn't be great because we all like seeing Minato with the Kurama cloak, but hey, I'm just saying, there are ways around this that aren't as cheap. By the way, Killer Bee wouldn't deserve it, so that's the only thing. I'm happy. I'm happy that they kept him around though. We stay in Killer Bee. Okay, on to the next thing, but first I want to reiterate on the topic from earlier just for a second. If the Sage of Six Paths comes in at that point, do the reincarnates continue in Boruto at some point later? Because apparently they reincarnate all the time, but maybe the cycle stopped. Also, does the Sage of Six Paths show up to bail him out in Boruto at some point too? Against Urashiki and such? That would be a pain. It just opens the door for that. But anyways, on to the next thing. And this has to do with power scaling and other characters' relevance. And this is an opinion of mine that I hold dear because I've seen another anime do it right. And I'm not comparing the two animes, but I'm just saying there's ways to make this work better. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this out there right now. Naruto went way too fast with going multi-dimensional enemies, or just full multi-dimensional, you know, not even like, it's okay if you want to keep the flying Raijin and the Kamui and stuff in there, that's whatever, right? But like, as far as Kaguya changing dimensions 24/7, the Sage of Six Paths showing up from who knows where, the air, it made so many characters irrelevant. I talked about that in the beginning, but it really does. It makes so many characters irrelevant. Also, it just doesn't have enough time for other characters to catch up, you know? Not saying that they should be as strong as the main character or Sasuke or something, but you know, give them some time to catch up relatively. For example, Dragon Ball. They went multi-planetary before they went multi-dimensional. First it was the Saiyans, then it was Planet Namek, you know? And now in Dragon Ball Super, they're in different dimensions and such, and so it took a long time to get to that point, and it made for better scaling and for people to catch up accordingly. And it made for better tiering of villains. In Naruto, it went from here to here. In Dragon Ball, it was more like a steady incline. Here, 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 you know? On Earth, Saiyans, Frieza on Namek, and then now they're in Dragon Ball Super, where it's multi-dimensional and there's gods and things. And because of how long that took, you could write in ways for the other characters to be stronger as far as training or something. I don't know, you just don't have to force it is what I'm saying. And not to completely go on a tangent on Dragon Ball or anything, but they had Master Roshi in the Tournament of Powers, okay? Do you think Jiraiya would have any type of effect fighting Madara at the end of Naruto? I don't think so. And this carries over to Boruto too. Now all of a sudden, all your primary fights are from people in different dimensions, different planets that are all above Kaguya level. See, and they're trying to fix some of this by, you know, I don't know for a fact, by killing off Naruto and killing off Sasuke at some point. They're gonna try to revert some of that power scaling to, you know, bring the people that were lower up, because you have to get rid of the guy at the top. They are so much stronger than everybody else in that verse, obviously not attaining the villains, that you have to get rid of them. Otherwise it just seems like this pointless for Boruto to be the main character or something. But there's one thing you can't fix. You can't fix the villains. The villains are going to stay the same now because of what's happened. Now all of a sudden every single villain has a Rinnegan or something, so that doesn't also affect the power scaling at the end of Naruto, which isn't a big deal because if the show is over, it's like, okay, it came to a point. But in Boruto, now all of a sudden everybody's multi-dimensional and somehow related to Kaguya. And they could have worked their way to that point, but to start off in anime where your strongest villain is multi-dimensional plus and universal AP, I don't know, that's just kind of jumping the gun to me. There isn't exactly some type of staggered way of getting to that point, you know, such as going multi-planetary. Like, it'd be, like I said, it would be completely different. And you know, this is all opinion, by the way. Like, honestly, I love the show. Let's just get that out the way. But wouldn't it have made more sense if maybe they were all of a sudden on a different planet fighting or something like that, before next thing you know, they're traveling through dimensions made by Kaguya, different worlds and such? And granted, they're technically aliens, right? So you might call it that, but it was full multi-dimensional too. Like, it wasn't like, oh, you had to fly here and fly there, or come through here and come through there. No, all of a sudden, snap, different dimension. But yeah, aside from that and everybody having Rinnegans that nobody uses properly, unlike Pain from Naruto, that's about all I have. If the video was about simple plot holes, this would have went on a lot longer, but I wasn't gonna do that. It was just in general things that I found affected the storyline a lot, that I felt like were bailouts, or affected the continuing storyline of Boruto, or stopped the development of side characters that were so great in like the original Naruto. As soon as Naruto Shippuden hit, all of a sudden everybody's falling behind so drastic that they don't even have an effect on the battle or the chest field, you know? I'll probably make a video saying like best things about Naruto compared to other animes and things like that, because I'm not trying to spend my time bashing. Like I said, it's a good thing. Like, I would be very disappointed if Naruto never existed, you know? But at the same time, these are just things that I picked up on. And just looking back from an objective point of view, just some quirks to me. Anyways, drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more. And drop a comment below if there's another thing you would like me to go over on a video. It's your boy Shrizzles, and I'm out.